Hello you beautiful people and welcome back to another Hiker Plays video. Today we're going to be talking about tanks and how to build them. So if you enjoyed the video from yesterday where we talked about DPS characters, we're going to pretty much be running the exact same format. We're going to be talking about how to build tanks, so the gear, the amulets, the dials and the runes that you should be using on them. And I have prepared a very, well, I say I've prepared it. I've clearly not prepared it well enough. But I have prepared an image for you guys, which should now appear on your screen. And that is your tank tier list. So at the top, the S tier, we do have Vegito. Absolutely best tank in the game at the moment. Second tier, you do have the likes of Margin Vegeta and Android, the Super 17 Android. That is, that's the core red one. Then in B tier, you have Margin Buu and Gotenks. Is it Gotenks? Super Saiyan 3, yeah, that's what. Yeah, I know the names, guys. I know the names. And then right at the bottom, you do have Buu, which again is just absolutely solid. If you're free to play, brand new to the game, you're gonna get Buu for free. Super good tank to start the game with, and then slowly like level up into one of the higher tier ones. And then lastly, you have Nappa. I wouldn't use Nappa. He's what's the word? What's that word I'm looking for? Terrible. There you go. He's terrible. But there you are. So, tier list is up on your screen. Effectively, S tier is ideal. A tier, I'd be very happy with. B tier, you know what? You're going to be having fun with the B tier. And C tier, look, everyone starts there and you're going to move up. So, I'm going to close the tier list over. Let's get into actually building your tanks. Now, remember, this is quite a new account and therefore I don't have everything. So, I can only show you what I have. But, let's go into Vegito. Yes, I do own Vegito. And if we go into his gear, you can see that we do have a full set of the Zamara, well, the full set of Zamara. And I will just quickly flick through the pieces so you can see that I do have the full set. That gives me both passives, so I get the HP up by 10% and the 10% Reflect. Reflect is really useful because it's going to be bouncing damage back to the opponent. And then when receiving damage, I also have a 10% chance to heal 2%. So it's just going to make those tanks that little bit more survivable throughout. Now, when you go into your gear, you're going to want to bless your gear. Typically with tanks, the most important thing is going to be HP percentage. So you're going to want to do as much HP percentage at the lower levels. So you always just want to be on HP percentage. Now, as you go further down on weapon, I would keep it at HP percentage. The rest of this is really not that important. You don't really want damage on your tanks. So again, and then with the armor, if you come further down, so you want to do HP percentage until you get to like level 10, where you can go to crit resistance, and then later on to recovery or even damage reduction. All of those are very, very good options, and it's sort of up to you how you want to optimize your tanks. But again, pre-10, always HP percentage. Same here, you just want to do HP percentage, and then if you can get to 20, control could be quite good. But for the most part, I would keep the trousers on HP percentage as well. And then lastly, you've got boots, which will be on HP percentage until you can get to the crit damage reduction. Crit damage reduction is absolutely like awesome because a lot of people are going to be building crit, and if you can reduce any of that, that's just too good. So Safeguard is fantastic in terms of damage reduction. So that's how I would build my sets personally. Now, moving forward, we can look at your amulets. So once you get to red, as you know, you're going to be able to get amulet skills. So we can go into, not information, we can go into recast and then go into information. And I could talk about the different pieces you're going to need. Again, you can have 4 since you'll have 2 sets of amulets, so you'll have 4 sets of skills. So the first one I would always try and get is touch. I love that there's a constant 15% damage reduction. That is just too good. The second one I really, really like is Patch, a 1.25% heal per second. A per second heal is always good, especially when you get to like 20 million HP and you're healing a ridiculous amount every second. Patch is fantastic. Now, another one that's really good is actually in the special section. I think it's in the special section. Yeah, there we are, Reflect. So a 20% damage Reflect. I think it's really good for tanks as well. And the last one I want to show you is one called Shelter, which is actually back in Survival. That's the first 10 seconds damage reduction is up by 25%. Could work really well with Tough. So you just have a really high damage reduction at the start of the game, and then it scales down a bit. But that's all good. Other options that you could use, ground is pretty good. So you don't really need pace on a tank. So typically the extra 25% HP could be very, very useful. So I do like the idea of ground, and I do like the idea of something like first aid. So when your HP drops below a certain point, you'll heal up. Really, really like solid, amulet skills. But there is a couple more in here that honestly you can feel free to use, but these are like the 6 that I would recommend. So I'm giving you guys a little choice. Going into runes, of course, guys, I get this asked a lot. What rune is best? What rune is best? Listen, when you're doing tanks, the best runes are things that are going to buff your team or shield your team. So things like giving your team rage, things like giving your team a heal, things like giving, control resistance, anything that's going to sort of share and help the team, great on a tank, or anything that's going to give him a shield. So it doesn't matter if it's purple or yellow or red. Like, you're going to want anything that's like more supporty. With these stones, so the higher tier ones, so these are like the ones locked behind a paywall. Shepherd is absolutely going to be one of the best ones. So when your HP falls below 50%, or sorry, when an ally's HP below 50%, you'll heal that ally by 35% of max HP and grant a shield. Again, this can be on a support or this could be on a tank, and it just works so well. Plus, the 30% HP upgrade here is so good, as well as the damage taken down. The other one that's really, really good, which has the same set of passives, is the Exorcism Stone, and this is probably a little bit better, if anything, because it removes debuffs, and then it stuns nearby enemies. You're going to be frontlining, so you're going to have lots of enemies nearby, and then for every enemy nearby, it's going to recover 100 rage and gain some control immunity, so you're not going to get controlled, you're just going to be an absolute unit at the front. So, yeah, Exorcism is also fantastic. They're your 2 that you want to go for. Now, to round this off, we do have one more thing to show, and that is the technique selection. Now, there's only really 2 techniques that you can take as a tank. One is Soul. So, when the battle starts, your wearer is going to get a 10% HP buff, and then when you cast an ultimate, you're going to gain control resistance, which is really nice because it's going to prevent you from getting stunned, or, well, not prevent you, but you know what I mean. It's going to reduce the chance of you getting stunned or CC'd at all, and that's just going to be really, really nice. The other one that's quite decent is Key Barrier. I would probably call Key Barrier more of a support one than a tank one, but can work on tanks if this is what you get. This is what you get. So when the enemy casts an ultimate, the weakest ally will gain 10 damage reduction, 10% damage reduction for 6 seconds. Again, I could see this sitting on someone like Marco, or sitting on like one of your supports like Android 16, and just working just as well. But yeah, the idea is your weakest ally is going to get a 10% damage reduction. So just means your team's going to be that little bit more tankier. But boys, that is how I would build tanks. If you like this, throw a like and a subscribe, and let me know if you guys enjoy it so I can go and make the support one. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace.